Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 4 o'clock, time to start our May meeting of Cherokee Village City Commissioners. Roll call, Betsy, please.
Glenn Page. Kevin Stallsmith. David Evil.
Here.
Susan Jett. Here. Joe Kaiser.
Here. We have a quorum. Okay, we have a moment of silence. Okay. I need a motion for the approval of the agenda or any modifications we need to make to it.
I make a motion to accept the agenda.
I have a second. Second. Motion by Susan, seconded by Kevin. All those in favor? Aye. Approval of the minutes from our April meeting. I have not had a chance to read them.
So that's not a good thing, Mr. Weaver, because I was going to say, I heard the minutes is written, but if you want to read it, make a change, then you can.
If there's no changes to them, will somebody please make a motion to accept them?
I make a motion.
Motion to accept, second.
I will second.
Seconded by Susan. All those in favor? Aye.
Will everybody pull their microphones up just a little bit so that we're going to be heard better on the video?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, turn them off.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Audience is already watching.
That's working.
Okay, at this time we'll open the mic up. Wherever we got a mic.
Here, you take this one.
For the property owner comments.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Is anybody down here anything now? I'm so sorry. What'd you say? Yeah. Gosh, that was not your hearing aid. No, it doesn't have a hearing aid. I was just wondering about that.
Can you tell us where you're
In your day.
Okay, Sue Penhall, P. Hernando,
Thank you.
Penhall, P-E-N-H-O.
Susan. You can't hear her. That's.
Too high.
Okay, I was just wondering, I've seen so much stuff on the Cherokee Village page about the streaming passes and all that, and everybody said come to the meeting, and you know, so I was kind of wondering about prices. Is it the same for kids? Guest pass, there's different answers for
I think that's going to be addressed in the oldest or the bylaws.
Okay, we're going to review the bylaws and all the address.
What should I say again?
Penhall, Penhall.
Thank you.
Any other property owners comments today? Okay, moving on. Sorry.
Pam Davis, 59 Cherokee Road, and there's a big question as to why we have got the meeting at 4 and not 6, so people can attend after work. Is that a possibility for the summer? I know during the winter it doesn't get started.
That's possible in the research.
But we made this decision several years ago
Right.
because it was easier for people to come at 4 than it was at 1 or 6. And
Yeah, but, I mean, it's been all over the place, but that was a big question that was on the Facebook page, that not,
good.
I'm tired.
Any other property owners' comments? Okay, on to old business. Susan, this one's yours. Special plan committee.
And I'm glad to report that we had our first strategic planning, special planning meeting on May 1st at 4 o'clock in this room. And we had 14 people from a variety of backgrounds have been invited. That was the day that the weather came in and everything in Sharp County and Cherokee Village and Hardee and Highland got canceled. But we met, and there was a small group of us, but we were mighty, and we met for 55 minutes. And we talked about the idea that strategic planning has been tried many times in the past, and in a year or two it falls apart. As a city commissioner, I will not sit on this committee, but for the time being, I'm a collector of information. So that's why I was there. And we will have our next meeting on Wednesday, June 5th at 4 o'clock. At that meeting, we had introductions, and we just sort of talked about how long we've been here, what our general feelings are, and part of the discussion included that we need to work on lot sales some more, that we, what we all want to see happen in 10, 15, 30 years, and we all talked about how old those of us sitting around that table were. So the agreement, just talking, is that I have re-invited all of the initial people to see if the weather's going to participate, and we have everybody show up. We had some discussions about other places where people have lived that have homeowners associations and property owners associations in addition to SIDS. We talked about places where people have come from to here, and I asked the group to come next month with just a general idea, maybe a one-sentence, two-sentence idea of where they think we should start and what their goals might be. This committee will have no decision-making powers like every other committee that sits with SID. We will be an information-gathering committee, and we will report to the commissioners. This committee will report to the commissioners any ideas and solutions and costs and stuff like that. So this committee is not going to be a decision-making committee. We talked about June 2025 is going to be Cherokee Village's 70th anniversary, and what is SID going to be doing for that? So I challenged everybody to write down what you think SID can do, and we should probably already, Betsy is probably already working on that. She has not seen this letter either. We talked about a paradigm shift to look outside of what we're doing now and how we're doing it to see what we're going to look like in 30 years. What are the golf courses going to look like? What are people that are 30, 40, and 50 years old going to want to do at Cherokee Village in that time? At the next meeting, we are going to have a snapshot of the financials, which you're going to see in a little bit today, of what we're spending, what we're doing, the improvements that have been made, and how we're involving the property owners more. So if you want to come and sit around at this meeting on June 5th, you're welcome to, but there is going to be a core of people who will serve on the committee, and we're hopeful to elect a chairman at that time. Thank you very much. Here, at 4 o'clock.
Okay, moving on, old business, we're under bylaws, chapter 5, minute fee privileges and corrected versions. As some of us have already seen, Facebook is after us for property owners. Now property owners have been used for host, golf, and camping facilities by paying a guest fee. It was my intention and several of the other commissioners that this guest fee must be with a property owner when they come in. Quite evidently, they did it worded right. So I think we need to make some sort of adjustment because we were trying to appease Tony on this trying to make it easier for guests like the Airbnbs, the people that come here for a week or two, rent vacation houses and stuff, to get their property cards. But I can see right now this is create a hoo-ha on Facebook. A lot of this stuff does. They like it. So, discussion.
The discussion is, and has been, I believe, that a property owner will be the person who comes to the pool or comes to any amenities and presents your property owner card, and then your guests can pay the fees that are posted and were approved back in January. It's not free to the public, it's not open to the public. The amenities in Cherokee Village are for the property owners and the property owners' guests.
If with a person,
Speak up.
He's trying.
if a person is renting an Airbnb, there's not a property owner that can come with them to the pool. So we have to have, that's why we were talking about going to electronic guest passes to present, because the property owner's not going to, if the property owner's in Memphis and they're renting it out to somebody here as a guest, they have no way to be here with them when they go to the pool. And it's never been that case before. Like when I had guests come to me, like my son and his wife, they would take their guest card and they would go over to the pool without me because they had a guest pass. So,
We did this for this one, you wanted to.
yeah, we said the way I wanted it was to start with an electronic one. And
You said
then the suggestion
this
came.
suited you, Tony.
Yeah, but I don't have a problem with it the way it is right now. Okay, what I'm saying though is that if we go back to issuing guest passes again, that was what we was trying to get away from, was making these paper guest passes every week. Every time a guest came up, I had to go out and get a guest pass, and it became cumbersome. So the idea was to find an easier way to get guest passes for people to go to the pool.
And this is what you decided was easy?
No, it wasn't just me. That was my suggestion. That wasn't my suggestion. No guest passes at all. If you look back in the minutes, Betsy has made the suggestion. I said, okay, that's fine with me. So we went, and that's what we ended up making a motion.
Betsy, our new system that we're implementing,
Okay, can we just step back 1 second and take a breath, because our office hasn't, we provide guest passes. This has not been a problem in the past. The problem, the complaint has been that once we moved out to the Omaha Center, that people complained they had to drive 7 miles from Cherokee Center out to the Omaha Center. We did everything we could possibly do to try to accommodate by dropping passes at Thunderbird, putting them in the lobby. You know, there's been times our employees have put them in people's mailboxes trying to accommodate. Last year, Tony, you brought up that this was a problem and that you hoped that our new software system would be able to accommodate these sorts of passes. But what you envisioned was nothing that you brought to me to say, here's how it works. It was nothing more than, hey, I think this is a way we can do it. And so at that point, if we're going to send out blank guest passes to people to be able to put in their own guest information, then everybody in the public is going to have access to the swimming pool.
Okay,
So
so I
that
thought
will
we-
not be affected.
I thought we went to saying if we did it electronically by email to where we can.
We offer electronic.
That's what I'm saying.
email, but that means that
We
that property
we said
owner.
we didn't have that before, we said before.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't offer electronically by email. We accept emails that we provide guest cards from.
Okay.
We don't have an electronic system. My gosh, this year we finally got a software program that actually has all of our parcels in there. We've made some really good progress, but we don't have a system in place to do electronic cards.
That's what we were working on at the end of last year, and then we decided, we said, we might as well just not have guest passes.
Correct.
And then we all voted, we just want to have guest passes.
That's exactly right. I said, we're going to just send out blank guest passes, and people are going to fill them out for themselves. We might as well not have them. What would be the purpose of it? The expense of having a system in place if every single person in this room can create their own guest passes?
Okay, that wasn't the idea. bunch. And the idea was, the first idea was every property owner gets, say, 8 guest passes that they could use that year.
I'm
With
totally up for however y'all want to do it. Again, our office provided guest passes for years and years and years, and we don't have a problem with it. So whatever y'all decide how y'all want to write this, our office is going to comply, but we do not have an electronic way to do guest passes.
And on behalf of the wonderful employees that we have at the Omaha Center, if you go in there on any given weekend, you'll see 30 to 50 and maybe even more guest passes that the team has put together, taking a lot of valuable time that are never even touched and actually trashed later.
Never picked up, because those people are coming in and playing golf. They can go to the golf course and pay a guest fee and play golf. So that was how the whole discussion was kind of described. Well, if they can do it that way, then what's the difference with the swimming pool?
Right.
You know, we have those that complain we'll never make enough money to pay to keep the pool going. And then if we look at another way of bringing more people in and increasing the income, and then we have that situation. You know, maybe what we should look at is hours for property owners only, or dependents. You know, there may be a more creative way, but we got to this because of all of this discussion and votes that's happened by the commissioners. So this has not been signed. This is the bylaws. This is part of what we brought back from the last meeting. If there's something we want to change, this would be the time to do it.
So for this season, should we go back to what we've done in the past? And thank you. So for this season, should we go back to the way we've done in the past and work more diligently to find a way forward? Can we do that?
Well, if someone sends you an email asking for a guest pass,
Yes.
do you not have, you print up guest pass, right?
Well, the guest pass is on one of those dot matrix printers, so it's an actual card that we go in and print the names on the card.
Yeah, we don't create any kind of a paper trail online to send to the customer, to send to the property owner's guest, so that they'll have
If
some.
I'm printing that card and then scanning it to a PDF so they can't change it, and then emailing it to them, that's way more time consuming than it is for me to print that card.
Could we make a PDF file up with the guest card, so that way when somebody requests one online, you can fill it out and just email it?
I don't have that outside. There may be a way to do that, yes.
And
But
you can make
again,
a
is that going to
PDF
take
on
me,
Microsoft Word.
is that going to take me more time than what I'm already doing, or is that not the purpose?
Well, you don't have to mail it, you don't have to send it out, you can email it to them instead. But as far as the pools go, that has been pretty much a property owner's thing, you know? One of our amenities that we pretty much kept to the property owners. And unlike a lot of other people out there, I don't need people coming in from Highland or Hardy or Ash Flat using our pools. That's just me.
I think the other thing that we talked about last year was that we have property owners whose children live in Highland and Hardy and Ash Flat and Salem, and every 14 days they were sending us an email for another card. You know, we have people that have friends in those areas that get guest cards repeatedly. We had a list of over 60 people one time, if y'all recall last year, that requested guest cards for 60 people. It has been quite ridiculous. You know, let's just be honest. Until the settlement and all of the changes that have happened, guest cards were given away to people with an expiration at the end of the year. That's what was happening. You could go to the office, many of the property owners here will admit to you, they used to come and get a guest card and it expired at the end of the year. So So everybody had access to the amenities. Everybody's been going to them. This is not something new. Us locking it down and generating those cards is something that was our attempt at providing some kind of rule about making sure that those pools were for the property owners and their guests and their families. But it's the property owners who abuse the process.
Ron, what's your thoughts?
You know, we have those same friends that live in the surrounding community, and they do come in as guests, and it's cumbersome for them to have to get a guest pass every 14 days. However, it's cumbersome for them not to have it too, for their benefit, because their kids want to come in without their parent, and their parent may have a lot in Cherokee Village, which gives them all the rights and privileges, which is fine for most of the people who use the system as we expect it to be honest and upright. And I'm not saying people are not, but they're a little confused, and that's where we need to find a way to have a temporary guest card that is very workable for the employees to give to an individual and give them some kind of electronic piece, which we don't have identified in here, and we need to table that so we know that, like, I can use my iPhone, or I can use my iPad, or heaven forbid, my 386 computer of 1988, because I've seen a few of those people helping them trying to get up to speed in Cherokee Village, and most of them are a little older than you guys. So we
Full opens Friday.
Pardon?
Full opens Friday. This decision is not to be made now. And we've had people call in the office, not a ton of people, but we've had a few people call and say, hey, we want to get our guest cards. We had someone today, we want to get our guest cards.
Tony, your thoughts?
I said it over and over, so now let's.
Joe?
Well, I don't know, it sounds, what I'm hearing is that like, there's probably not an easier way at the moment to do it than the paper trail that we're doing. And I'm totally not an electronic person, but I know when going to bigger events and stuff that I would attend with my family, it's all done on your phone. And there's a scan code on there, but I ignore the idea of those scanning machines would cost. And if you could have a card in your phone, like from an email, you could scan it. Maybe we could email it and then someone could physically read it and say it's a guest card number, blah, 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 issued by, I don't know. There's got to be an easier way than the paper, but it sounds like at the moment the paper might be the easiest way.
Stay with the paper this season.
Well, we need to rework this section.
Just move this to old business again and let's
Well,
work.
we gotta get, we gotta get this done before Memorial Day.
Well, let's go back. If we haven't signed it, then it hasn't changed from the old one.
Right.
So if you wanted to put it to old business, that maybe what it is, Tony, if there's something specific, if you've got the electronic knowledge of what it is, a program, other than you sending me a picture of
Okay,
a box,
that's what-
say this is the.
I know, I
what it
understand.
look
I
like.
agree with you, but then that's what I was working on until we decided, let's not go that route, and let's just go no passes at all. I said, okay. So we should, if we were to keep on working on the electronic thing, 4 months later, we could have had something in place, but we decided not to, so that we're back in this position.
I guess I misunderstood that piece of paper you showed us. I thought that would be wanted us to create a piece of paper.
No, that's what I said when I presented it, and then all of a sudden the talk came of, we will not have, just don't have the card, even guest pass, we might as well already have it, then we voted to do that, and that way I stopped the process of working on electronic, so that was dead. And now 4 months later, we're bringing it back up again, now I don't have time to finish trying to figure out how to get that to work in a week's time.
Well, I've got several friends in the electronic field. I'm gonna ask them about
simplify this, it's not a guest pass that you need for everything. Maybe there's an easier way to obtain that guest pass from the pool, even if the property owner goes to the pool and purchases it. I mean, maybe we're trying to make something really hard that could be something really simple. Let's table it for 30 days. That gives Tony, 2 weeks to look at the electronic path to see if that's the way. We can beat around some other ideas and look to see how other places do it, because it's the only place we're using a card. Starting Friday, we'll use the same process we've used till the June meeting, 30 days. That's not the whole summer. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It hasn't shattered because of these guest cards.
Okay, I need a motion then to move this to old business to the next meeting.
We'll have
Just that second.
we'll have another chance to.
Just that 1 second. Ma'am?
They use it for reach too.
Yes. Yes, there's a fee if you get any copy of the card.
Right.
And this week I've been seeing people just park outside and just walk down there and they're like, they talk to me like, who are you? Ma'am, I'm just asking if you're a property owner.
We get a motion?
Yes.
I need a motion.
Well, wait, are you gonna take a motion just for section 5-32?
No, the whole thing.
But don't we have to have some of this in place for Memorial Day?
We have to have some of this in place. And go with
We'll
the.
go with the same policy that's been in place.
Okay.
Last summer, we'll have the same policy this summer until this changes in this summer.
Okay.
So, all right.
And there are a few things in this that probably need to be looked at a little closer as we move forward. And I think that's appropriate. So I'll make a motion to table this. And this has already been made.
No, I haven't motion. Not table, just move it to.
Move it to old business.
Ron made a motion to move this to next month's meeting under old business. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Excellent. Okay. Next on the agenda is a letter concerning irrigation from the lakes. We didn't get it printed up, but I will read to you what we intend on sending out to the lakefront property owners. It says, "Dear property owner, as you may know, the Cherokee Village Suburban District owns and maintains 7 lakes in the community. Lake Thunderbird, Lake Omaha, Lake Sequoia, Lake Chinook, Lake Navajo, Lake Cherokee, and Lake Aztec. It has come to CID's attention that numerous property owners are unlawfully pumping water out of the lakes without CID's permission. As a courtesy, CID provides this notice to remind property owners they should not pump water out of CID's lakes. Doing so without CID's permission is a violation of CID's property rights." That's what we're going to be sending out. Any discussion on it? Tony?
I'll just simply put it, and disagree with this. I think it's going to cause, backlash and some lawsuits. And unless I see that it is a detriment to our lakes, which I need some proof for that, that's what I think. I'd like to see that first before backing something.
Tony and I are in the same boat. I disagree that we should send something to allow. I went around Thunderbird and Omaha and out to go where a number of the individuals are pumping water out. And honestly, if we had a situation with a drought, then it might be a thing that we could say, please do not pump any water out of the lakes. It's impacting the vegetation, it's impacting the fish, it's impacting the utilization of the lakes, as opposed to something that says, guys, all we're going to do is continue to say, please cooperate with this.
Joe?
I guess I'm trying to think in my head. I understand in a drought situation that could be a real issue. You've got 25 property owners on one lake pumping water out to water their lawn, and you can drive around in your pond under your boat, you can see the yards, they've got water pumped on them because they're super green, in the summer, especially when it gets to be in the hundreds. It evaporates quickly, and we might get down 8, 10, 12 inches shallower than it is now, just from the heat. And then if you've got 30 property owners pumping water in your yard, it could drop even more. But I understand what Tony and Ron are saying, and I honestly, I don't want to stir up any more of a rattlesnake's nest or anything like that. So I would be in agreement with what the board decides on that. I personally would prefer them not to pump out of the lake, but, you know, I'm just one guy.
I'm in the camp of don't pump. It's the rule, the law has been out of date for a long time, and I believe that we've already spoken with all these homeowners. We've already talked to them, and we have a list of the properties that have been sold and resold from the people who put the pumps in. I believe that we, from previous discussions, have generally decided that it's not a good idea to pump from the lakes. Your own personal property watering takes away from everybody else being able to enjoy the lake as it gets hotter and evaporates. I just think we should keep on with this. I just think we should keep on with stop irrigating from the lake.
As my views on this is, people that are pumping out of the lake are just saving themselves money instead of paying for the irrigation from the water department that all the other property owners have to pay. First off, our lakes, there's only one lake out there that is spring fed. All our lakes are from water runoff from the rain. For the last couple of summers, I have personally seen the lakes drop 2 to 3 foot because people are pumping, they get evaporated, it gets up to be 100 and some degrees, that water disappears real quick. This is a serious threat because people back in small coves have their docks and boats sitting on the bottom. So, what it is we have 1 or 2 that are still grandfathered, don't we? That's it from prior approvals.
I believe from the last letter, what you're referring to, Susan, was a notice from 2014. I think you found documents that far back, an original document back in 2006 that had a list, and then there was another list in 2014 that had some of those same people on there who were still in violation. There's about a handful of them that are still under grandfathered in, but that's it.
So it's a handful. It's not, I don't believe it's 30 unless people, but it's from these lists that we've gotten, it's probably just a handful of people.
I was looking for the email from one of the property owners who had brought to our attention this, and of course she couldn't make it to the meeting today, and I can't find her email, but basically she said she pays about $1,200 a season in her water bill for her irrigation. And she said, you know, she was ready to put that pump in the water and save that $1,200, and that's what it is that we decided to do. But that kind of gives us an idea of what people would spend if they had to go through the water company and pay those watering fees.
My feeling on this is if we do not get a grip on this, we've got a lot of new property owners coming in, buying lake houses, and they're going to see their neighbor pulling water out of the lake, they irrigate their land. It's just going to mushroom on until, hey, we've got 25-foot water in the lakes. That's it. So it is. This has been on the books since 1980s.
It was.
Yes.
It was.
Do we know, David, what Bella Vista and Hot Springs Village does, Holiday Island, what are their rules and regulations?
I don't know.
We don't know. Most of them will not let you pump water.
That's what
And that's the same on state property, you cannot
Second.
Joe seconds. I have a motion from Susan to send the letter out, second from Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Guess what? I get to do my first tiebreaker. We will be sending the letter out. I say we send the letter out. Okay, next on the agenda. Waterworks update. At this time, I would like a motion from the commissioners to approve the funds for paying off the water department settlement.
I make that motion to approve the funds that pay off the debt, the mediated debt.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Joe seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ron?
Abstain.
Abstain. Tony?
Nay.
The ayes have it. New business, we have none. Okay, that's it, it's up to you.
All right, Landmark CPA firm that we have interacted with, thank you, that we have reached out and interacted with about doing our audits, seems to be very interested. They've come back and asked for some balance sheet information and not kind of loaded all and I don't have the cost yet. We're not to the place where he's given us the quote, but I feel like that within the next week or so, he'll be able to give us a quote to do the 2 years that need to be done to get us back current with the 2023 audit being the last year. Again, I looked at their audits that they provided for Holiday Island that were posted on their website. They are way better than the audits that we've gotten in the past, way more informational, easy to read and understand, and I think that that would be the format that would be best used for our community and for people here. Any questions? The next thing to report was the Cherokee Village Property Owners Tournament. It was last weekend on Saturday. Thankfully, the weather blew in and out early that morning, and we had a great day. We had 24 teams that were enlisted to play, and it took us about 5 hours to get it done, but it was a really good day. I think everybody was super pleased. We had great volunteers. Wonderful community support. FNBC was our corporate sponsor. Arkansas Landscape was our gold sponsor. Friends Fish House came in and fed everybody lunch, and we really had a good time. This is the one tournament that we do that's not for profit. It is to just widen the property owners a little bit, and it really was a good tournament and a good turnout. We had said that in 2023 we did it at the North Course, in 2024 we did it at the South, and we hope next year we'll come back here and kind of keep that bounce going back and forth. It's nice to get everybody to play both courses. Some of the golfers get used to one and just don't really get to utilize the other one. So it was a really good day, really good day. Any questions on that?
I have less.
Good. Good.
I didn't finish last.
You didn't finish last.
Neither one of us did.
Well, that's somebody asking for a recognition for that last place. They got replaced this year, so.
I'm still.
In April, if you will notice on the financials that I provided you with a little highlighted sheet. And I know we didn't actually open the cafe at the golf course until the official day of April 24th. We did a couple of weeks of some soft opens, and this kind of gives you an idea and an update on the money or the funds that have been put into that. Of course, you can see at the top, our income for that little bit in April was about $3,300. And then at the bottom is going to be your expenses. And what I did is I've broken down our actual expense to bring the restaurant back up, which is where I had asked for permission for your funding. And the other one is our food cost, so that we can see what where we're actually laying with what our cost is. So that's why we split split it up in those two categories. I expect that May will be a full picture of a full month, and it's not been too bad. We're looking at another hire over there in the kitchen, which is going to help relieve Susan and I from our second jobs, but it's been great, and we've had great feedback from the community, and if you haven't been out to try it, please go by. It's very affordable and some good healthy food. We're not frying anything, and we would love for y'all to come experience it with us. Any questions on that?
They got great hot dogs. I can't eat them, but they do have good hot dogs.
Why not seawall? So, I gave each of y'all a packet. This is the top page on the packet. This is a new property owner, Mr. Shipman, and he's given us a really nice drawing. You know, I think this, for me, this brings me back. If you look at the third page, when we went back and redid our dock guidelines, do you have a copy of it?
And I got one.
I figured the original that I had, so I don't have one.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there's copies for everyone. Anyway, so you'll find on the third page that on May 15th of 2023, we discussed making changes to the guidelines of the seawalls, but we did not. So the 2007 guidelines, or the next two pages, are the guidelines that we will be applying towards the seawall. Lucky for us, there's a seawall on the adjoining property, so he's pretty much following that uniform. All of the materials and everything that he's using, concrete, there's no wood on the seawall. I think that it meets the requirements. Told him this is the first seawall we've had since, well, it's the first seawall we really had anybody ask permission to do since we've come together with our new guidelines, and I just wanted your stamp of approval. I don't think there is an original. I think there's a copy.
Original in the board somewhere.
I think they're all copies. This is something I printed off. They're all going to look like a copy.
So do we need to make a motion on this, or do we just sign off?
Well, I'd say let's discuss it. If you
It
do
looks
want,
good to me.
yeah, do you want to make the change? I think Joe, initially last year, you were the one. Same time last year, May of last year, you were the one that said you had some concerns about this new one from 2023. And I want to think your concerns had something to do with shoreline, constructed beyond shoreline, pool levels.
That would be my only concern, is that they don't go past the, shoreline is one thing. If they decide, we're going to build a seawall, we're going to put it 5 feet out from the end of our property area, then they gain a little bit more property and so forth. So I would say that as long as it is up with the current water edge now, and they just build a seawall there, I really can't see the harm in that. Plus, it eliminates erosion in that area from the wake boats and all that.
I totally agree.
That we have already passed, voted time after time to allow the wake boats. So, seawall's not a bad idea if you own property.
But he does have seawalls on each side, so he will be adjoining other seawalls. If y'all are good with this, then I will approve this. I just wanted you to share. And if you want to re-look at those seawall guidelines, we can put that on old business next month, and we can sign all those new guidelines. That's something y'all would like to do.
I think it's number 6 that we're concerned about. That's, you can sit down. Number 6 is the one we're concerned about the seawalls cannot be constructed beyond the shoreline at the pool level. dock is what I think for, and I think that's,
And the seawall, dock.
yes, yes.
That's what I need a motion for.
I would second that motion.
So there's a motion.
Tony, you need a motion to approve the seawall and dock, Susan seconded, all those in favor? Motion carries. Any other discussion before we turn it over to the property owners? Ron?
No, sir.
Tony?
Move this to.
No.
No.
Okay, let's move this to business.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I need a motion to move
We don't
the,
need a motion for this new business now. It's not business.
It's not new business, it's a GM update.
Need to be brought into.
I gotta have a motion for
Motion to give over business.
the seawall, the seawall.
Yeah, so old business.
We're removing the seawall part of our rules and regulations.
But
We
we're
have
not,
to
okay,
wait to review.
we're not gonna let them, not gonna let them build this
No,
way.
This
one's good.
That's good.
But rebuild, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Great, that is awesome.
Tony need a motion to review the guidelines next month. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ron seconds, all those in favor?
Okay.
That's Any other discussion before we turn it over to the property owners again?
Everybody noticed too, you know, the flyer about that,
Yeah, go ahead,
about
Bob.
our town grant. I really noticed and check into that. There's going to be some meetings coming up, and that'd be great for everybody, something positive for everybody involved with.
No, she's taking mine.
Oh, 3 minutes?
No.
You want- you
That's it, we're done.
I was just telling them to pick one up.
Yeah, go ahead. Tony's got a question.
Yeah. We have an update on the Thunderbird floor,
Thunderbird what?
floor at the Thunderbird Center.
Actually, they went in and did a repair in the biggest part of the room, and then it seems like there's still a problem in the little hallways going to the back and the entry. So they're actually on schedule out this week, and they're supposed to go there tomorrow to go back in. I think it's just so much flooring, and when that heat that's in there, when it swells, they can cut it apart from the edges.
And the light match is there, we get in soon.
I think this was the first week that they've been told that it is.
Right. That's what we're gonna get
I
back, we're
think
gonna
they were
get
told
back.
they come back after the holidays, what George told me. So, but they're gonna be in there tomorrow.
Okay.
And the pond down here, what's the status on that?
Man, the rain is not working with us. We need about a 10-day window of no rain to be able to get down there and dig that keyway out again. And they're gonna go down a little bit further and see if they can't find what line it is that's leaking. There's a guarantee on the line that they would fix it, that it would not leak, and they said they would fix it. We've been in communication, I see the window in a couple of days, and they're like, and then we dig when the rain comes, and they're gonna have a nasty, muddy mess on the golf course. So, it's not been forgotten, I promise.
How about our engineering study for down here on the river?
We haven't heard from him recently, but the last I had heard from him, we got a bill where they're still meeting and putting plans together, and they're moving forward. It just takes the time, I guess, to get it all worked out and what they've done.
That's the same company that's doing the Sequoia Dam too, right?
Yes, yes. Last thing, though, I didn't have on the agenda, since we talked about the dams, our lake management report should be in next week. He was really pushing to try to have it today, but he has finished his 7 lakes and the lake management report, and so we should have some good information about what we do moving forward and when, what kind of fish we would stock with. I think it's going to give us the information about the carp out in Omaha. So that should be something in June that we'll have to study. I'll send it to y'all as soon as I get it, so you'll have plenty of time to go through it.
I seen them out spraying weeds the other weekend. They were actually out spraying
Well, some of the chemical that it used, he explained to me that the weed has to make it to the top of the water so that the chemical that it goes in, it goes down into that stalk or down into that, and not really just diluted by the water. And so some of that is kind of waiting on some vegetation to be able to spray, but they've been working. We gave them some boat passes. Lake safety was constantly seeing them out on the lake, so they're doing what we asked them to do.
Any more? Bill, any comments?
Did he do electro shocking?
That's what I understand, and the contouring.
Okay.
Yes.
Susan, any comments? Yes, sir. Tony? Ron? Okay. Property owners, got your 3 minutes. You got your 3 minutes. All right.
Betsy, thank you for getting the fairway cafe going. It's wonderful. She cooked for me yesterday. She mentioned that to me as I was walking up. Tell everybody I cooked for you.
That's right.
She's a great cook.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I have a question. We've had lake level situation out there. Come on,
Yes.
is that resolved?
Well, the last time I've been by the lake when the water was up, the water had exceeded the sandbags, and the leak had stopped. Tyler Budget engineer told us it was going to happen. So I don't know if
That's
it'll
a
move. I don't know if you'll see it in another spot, but if you walked by and looked at it as well,
It looks good.
it looks great.
This is, well, we don't know yet though.
That's right.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Mother Nature has its way of doing things, but that was the last thing. I took pictures. I sent to him once the water exceeded over the bags, if there was any kind of whirl, and there's nothing.
Okay,
So,
I'm glad to see that. Yes, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
yes.
Lake level it's been a long time. People have been talking about the lake levels and irrigation. My mom and dad's house has had an irrigation system since sometime in the 80s. They did have a grandfathering, it was grandfathered in. I live there now. I don't use it, but the study that was done back in the 80s, I don't have details exactly. We do know the evaporative rate is higher than the amount of water everybody was pumping at the same time. The evaporative rate is even higher yet. And that's about 7/8 of an inch per day when it's 100 degrees and above. That's the only accurate statistic I remember from back in the day. The only one in this room is the youngest man in the room. He's the only one who's been here longer than I have. So we remember those days.
That's right.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, do we need to have an executive session?
I don't have anything.
No executive session? Then I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Ron made the motion.